Of some of the regiments on the battlefield, oftentimes the monuments are reflective of the organization that they represent. Obviously, a lot of the units were organized in towns and counties across the United States, but some of the units at Gettysburg were sponsored by clubs or groups. An example of that would be the Mozart Club that sponsored the 40th New York that fought in the Valley of Death on July 2nd, or the Corn Exchange Regiment out of Philadelphia, which of course was sponsored by the Philadelphia Corn Exchange, who fought in the wheat field on July 2nd and on Big Round Top on July 3rd. If you happen to like the videos that you see here on our YouTube page, make sure to hit the subscribe button and push the like button. Now, this is the 42nd New York Infantry, which of course also is the Tammany Hall Regiment. Uh, no Native Americans fought at the battle in any large extent. There are maybe a few here and there in different units that might claim Native American heritage. We get there's some counts of South Carolinians, and I know the Michigan infantry might have a few Native Americans interspersed. But there is definitely, this monument has caused a lot of confusion over the year amongst visitors. So it does not represent people that were in the battle. It represents the Tammany Hall Regiment and Tammany Hall itself. Tammany Hall is a political machine from New York City. And you might know that Boss Tweed was a member of Tammany Hall before and after the battle, and they ran New York City. Of course, then they were involved in a lot of greed and corruption. Um, Chief Tammany was a symbol of Tammany Hall, the chief of the Delaware Nation, or the Lenni Lenapes. And you can correct me in the comments if I mispronounced Lenni Lenape. Um, but this monument was placed here, I believe, in 1892, and at the time it was placed, it was the most expensive regimental monument placed on the field up until that time. And some of that might not have to do with the monument. Some of the reason its expenditures were so excessive was the fact that Boss Tweed's right-hand man, a leading member of Tammany Hall, was associated with the New York Monument Commission at that time, Daniel Edgar Sickles. Now, let me just defend General Sickles for a moment. When they figured out that he had taken money from the New York Monument Commission, of course, diverted funds that were set aside to place monuments for veterans, he really didn't steal the money. It's not like he took the money and then he bought a nice new carriage or, rented a house with it. No, he misappropriated the funds. So in other words, when the monument was dedicated, he would pay for all the beer and prostitutes for the veterans. So when you look at it like that, he's not really such a bad guy. Now, one last thing about this monument that I always like to tell visitors is we talk a lot about the Army on our tours. But this is actually the only monument on the battlefield that has any naval significance to it. And of course, what I'm talking about, it's the only monument with a belly button showing.